Welcome back to another analysis video. Today I'm going to be looking at the rogue cards. I've just briefly read some of these over. I'm a little bit on the fence about how I feel about these cards. So let's not waste too much time and just get into it. I'm all by myself today. Who's is not joining me again for this review, but maybe he'll have some comments and we can talk about it some other time as well. To start off, we're going to look at the Gravitational Displacer. This is a 5-mana 4/3 Starship piece. When this is launched, summon a copy of the Starship. This is very interesting and a little bit confusing, and I'll explain why. There are no other Starship pieces specific to Rogue. So by default, you can run Dimensional Core and Arcanite Defense Crystal, and then that guy, the Gravitational Displacer, in your deck as a rogue, right? The rest of the things that you can potentially put onto your Starship, which would be able to be doubled, are random effects, and we're going to talk about some of those in a bit. There's a couple of cards within Rogue that allow you to get random Starship pieces and discover a Starship piece and stuff like that. It's just these two currently, but then also they might be able to discover off of other effects where they discover from other classes and all that kind of stuff. What am I looking at here? I want to look at this one. The value of the Gravitational Displacer seems to be contingent on the ability for you to discover good Starship pieces out of the overall pool. And it's from another class, so it's not neutral. And then potentially just random ones, which I doubt this sees play just because the variance on Starship pieces might be too significant. But it's possible that all Starship pieces might be good enough that, you know, or not necessarily they're good enough, because some of them are probably not good enough. But it might be that just getting additional Starship pieces onto something where you're going to summon 2 of them is worthwhile enough that you do it anyways. We've talked a lot about the Starship pieces that are already available in other videos, and so you'll know some of my opinions about them. I was trying to think, though, you know, if I had the perfect 2 Discovers for Rogue, what would I choose? And I honestly think that I would lean towards the 2 Demon Hunter ones, like Shatter Shard Turret and Fell Fused Battery. If you're summoning 2 of the same minion, getting, you know, I guess here's the big problem with what I'm about to say, actually, is, well, no, it's actually worth noting that this, like, if you did this combo, it would increase the other one's attack every time that you attack. The big issue with it is you need to have minions on your opponent's board to kind of set up the combo, because you would ideally want to play your Starship, attack 4 times, 2 times with each of your starships that you summon, and then have all your minions attack in for lethal. But to make that happen, maybe you could make something happen with like a Leroy to put some minions on your opponent's board. I could see some kind of combo like that happening. But I'm really interested, and this is, you know, maybe I can farm some engagement or whatever. What do you all think is the best option for a Starship that you summon twice? I think that's really interesting. The other interesting thing here, and I'm not sure if it's reasonable to be able to do so, if you could get this effect multiple times onto your Starship, like if you could whatever it is, resurrect this, you know, the value just keeps on growing, right? Because if you do it twice, now your Starship summons 2 copies, and so on and so forth. So, you know, you could get a lot of value out of that. I mean, the stat line is bad, and it does not a lot when you immediately play it. So it's a little bit like, does this even see play at all? Like, you don't want to drop this on turn 5. If you drop this on turn 5, you're losing. So it's a little bit confusing. I am interested to see if like interesting combos can be set up and then carried out using this. I also dread it a little bit because rogue combos generally end up being very difficult to deal with, but at the same time it's a neat design space because they, and actually here's one other thing that I'll just throw in here as well. With the way that they put this together, I would be absolutely shocked if Rogue didn't get their own additional Starship piece during the next mini set, which kind of helps this along if it's not seeing a lot of play, or boosts it if it is. But anyways, I don't know if this is that good just as is. It's probably going to be maybe similar to like Wishing Well decks where, you know, haha, sometimes you just get like the most ridiculous Starship imaginable and there's, if you play it you win, and then other times it might be like, wow, you got like two of the most mediocre Starship pieces and who cares about it like at all, or they just don't synergize, like who knows, right? So interesting card. A lot to kind of discuss about that. Sorry, I've spent like 6 minutes talking just about the first card, but we can move on. We talked a little bit about this already. Starship Schematic, 1 mana spell for Rogue. Discover a Starship piece from another class. If you are running Gravitational Displacer, you would want to run this. If you aren't, it's possible you might still want to run this just to have like a, you know, you might still build a Starship without Gravitational Displacer if this card just is too slow. So this could see play either way, but it is a slower way to get Starship pieces out because no matter what, you're paying 1 mana extra. So the big benefit is that you can kind of synergize pieces from different classes together, right? Oh, and this is the Rogue Starship there as well. Next up, we've got Scrounging Shipwright. This is a 2 mana 3/2 Draenei. Death Rattle, get a random Starship piece from another class. In addition to, well, not in addition, you have to actually play the Starship piece once you get it, whatever random one you get from this, which makes it worse, but the style line's fine. Like 2 mana 2 or 3/2 rather, not 2/3. 3/2 is better than 3 or 2/3, I think, in general, depending on what you're going for, I guess. Like, you know, some things can probably make it easier to kill. It's a Draenei as well, so obviously you can duplicate the effect on a Velen if you want to go like, maybe there's like a turbo control rogue or something that people end up playing using Starships and such. This is interesting. I see this as being worse than Starship Schematic, but both of them are getting to Starship pieces with kind of negative mana implications, so it would have to fit into a slower deck if you're going to run them. I don't know that this is that good, therefore. Let's talk about Lucky Comet. This is a 2 mana, discover a combo minion. The next one you play triggers its combo twice. Now the other tab that I switched to by accident earlier is all of the combo things. Oh, does it say combo minions specifically? It does. So let me just switch this over to minions exclusively. So here's all the combo minions that are available in standard right now. And it also says the next one, so that would indicate to me that it's the next minion that has a combo on it that you play affects itself twice, right? Some of these would be whatever, like obviously you wouldn't want gain poisonous twice, it doesn't do anything. Some of them would be pretty decent, like getting 2 coins, and then if you're discovering and you're playing at the same turn, you get 3 coins off of this. That's kind of nice, especially if you want to play something like Wishing Well. SI Agent is kind of like, it's fine, not the greatest. Talgath we'll talk about a little bit later, but I don't think it's that great. We'll discuss. This one could be good as well. Elven Minstrel combo, draw 2 minions from your deck. You would draw 4 therefore, so it could be like a refill your hand kind of combo later on in a game, or you know, whenever, on turn 4 potentially, turn 5, whatever this costs, turn 6. Or potentially, yeah, turn 4 if you play this turn 2. Sorry, let me keep talking about this. This seems like it is a pretty good card overall. There's a lot of design space. It's a discover, and there's a decent amount of combos that are pretty nice to have. So I think this sees play in a lot of rogue archetypes. Next up, we got Space Rock Collector. 1 mana, 2/1, Draenei, Battlecry. Your next combo card costs 1 less. You know, we say this every time. Draenei means that you can duplicate it onto Velen. It's hard to say whether any of these Draenei necessarily makes Velen more playable in the specific archetype. This is interesting. If we remove the minion filter from this is all combo cards. There's not like a ton of them. But some of them, you know, like getting anything out a turn early isn't bad generally. And generally Rogue does run combo cards, so I see that it's a decent, it's not a bad stat line for a 1 mana card. It's probably worth playing, right? Next up we got Barrel Roll. 3 mana, deal 5 damage to an undamaged character, costs 1 less, or costs 1, not costs 1 less if you're building a starship. Backstab, if Backstab sees play, and if Starship Rogue is a thing, this sees play. Oh, like, just by itself, this could trade into a number of minions that are at a higher cost than it, even at 3 mana. So it's not terrible. The limitation of it having to be undamaged is a little bit more difficult to deal with. It's not like, you know, critical. It's worth noting you could also do this to the enemy hero, although you can only do that once unless they heal themselves back up. If I'm being honest, I don't know that starships are going to be that good, specifically in Rogue, except for maybe in memes, but I might be wrong about that. If they are, I mean, I don't know that you need to. The thing is, like, you know, the nice thing about Backstab, if we look at, let's just click on this so we can get to it easily. It's 0 mana, deal 2 damage to an undamaged minion, right? This allows you to hit the enemy hero, but it's not like it does a ton for you by having that benefit. And at best, it costs 1, which is a combo enabler, I guess. I don't know. I don't think this is very good, in my opinion. Let's move on. Next up, we got Talgath. This is a 4 mana, 4/4 demon with the effect, undamaged enemy minions take double damage, combo, get a backstab. So, what do I think of this? I think that if you are trying to control the board, this could be alright. If you're trying to control the board and you already have either minions on board to potentially assist with dealing with that board, or I don't know, like maybe like a... No, actually, I don't think this is that good. It's undamaged enemy minions take double damage. The backstab is going to give you 4 damage to 1 minion on your opponent's side of the field, or 2 if you combo this with Lucky Comet, meaning that you might get 8 damage out, and then the rest of the damage that you have to do is just like from other cards. So like, yeah, you could potentially, you know, kill something at 10 health with a barrel roll if you want to spend 5 mana in 1 turn just on summoning Talgath and then doing a barrel roll, I guess. And then on top of that, you could do 4 damage to another enemy minion. This, if it's at all worthwhile to have, will never stick more than 1 turn on the board. So it might be good for clearing on 1 specific turn. The mana cost is low enough that, like, you could potentially do the thing where, like, you know, you summon a minion that does 2 damage to all enemy minions or something like that. I think that's an effect on something, but I don't remember if it's in standard. Meaning that you do 4 to all of them, meaning you can clear a relatively middling board, or at least do a significant amount of damage to them. But then you have to ask the question, is there like better ways to do that than summoning Talgath, who's a 1/of that also has a combo effect? Like, what are we doing here? Is this good? Is it just fodder for the demon tag so that, like, you can discover it off of other effects? Is it so that you can get it off of the, you know, oh, I've destroyed my deck and I'm going to randomly get a demon every turn, and oh, I got Talgath. Okay, now that's not bad because it's actually like a 10-10 for 4 or whatever, and maybe I get a backstab if I'm not top decking. It doesn't feel that good to me, in my opinion. And we're moving on to another one that also seems really not good to me. Quazar. Quazar is a 6 mana spell. Shuffle your hand into your deck, reduce the cost of cards in your deck by 3. I started looking at this and I was like, this is broken, and then I realized you're shuffling your hand back into your deck. You have no cards now. Unless every card in your deck draws you more cards, you're just top decking now until you draw something that gives you significant, like way more significant draw. If you're playing like a deck that has all cards above like 6 mana, and you get the chance to play Quazar, like I could see it being like, oh, okay, well, it doesn't even matter because, you know, maybe every single card that I'm able to play now is meaningful enough that it doesn't affect, like, it doesn't matter that I'm just top decking for the rest of the game. But I think this is extremely bad. I don't see this ever seeing any reasonable amount of play. It, like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just insane. If there's any way to combo this into also drawing afterwards, maybe it's not as bad, but it feels really, 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 really bad. Next up we got Aidar Skulker. Actually, hold on, I want to talk about this for one more second. I think, does Auctioneer, Gadgets in Auctioneer still exist in Wild? Because if it does, I'm even more mad that this card exists, because it's just like bait for Wild to Auctioneer. It does, but you wouldn't be able to combo it because it's 7 cost and 6 cost. Because I was gonna say there could be like a pretty annoying like miracle variant where you just play, and maybe you still can, maybe you can cheat this down so it's a lower cost and then, you know, start the combo going. Because if you can make it so that you can consistently draw after you play Quazar, then it's busted. But in the case, like in Standard, I don't think that there are effects that actually do that enough for you. So it's bad. But in Wild, this will probably have annoying effects with Gadgets in Auctioneer in some way. But I'm no longer mad. Let's move on. Aidar Skulker, 2 mana, 1/3 demon, combo and spell burst, gain 2 attack, +2 attack and stealth. Very confusing synergy between those things, or anti-synergy, I would say. Ideally, if you're gaining attack, like, there's no reason to not attack once you've gained it. I get, like, because the issue is, on a board that's not, on almost any board state, like, unless your opponent doesn't have any spells that can potentially affect your whole board, stealth doesn't do enough for you to protect you. Like, it'd be better if this gave you, like, Divine Shield and +2 attack, but then that'd be a Paladin card instead. So I don't really understand the +2 attack and stealth in the same thing. I feel like anytime that you gain the attack, you're just going to want to attack in with the bonus attack, right? Although, okay, here's the benefit, potentially. On the turn that you play it, if you're comboing it out, you gain +2 attack and stealth, so now it's a 3/3 on turn 1, potentially, if you coin into it, that is untargetable. And on turn 1, it's near impossible to remove this. So this feels like a high roll going second card that's going to be really frustrating to deal with. And then if you spell burst off of it the next turn as well, then it's a 5/3 on turn 2. Which is even more annoying to deal with. Like, therefore, Rogue can do 5 damage on turn 2 to your face, or they can pretty well just lock down the board. The more that I talk about it, this seems really, really good. I guess even better for Rogue, potentially, is on turn 2, you could attack however you want to, and then play a spell, and now you have like a 5/3, 5/2, 5/1, depending on if you attacked into a minion or not. Yeah, you know what? I started off thinking this wasn't good. I think that it is actually really, really good, and probably too good. I guess we'll see. Last up, we got Pressure Points. 3 mana, Shadow spell. Deal 3 damage to a minion. Reduce the cost of combo cards in your hand by 1. 3 mana, deal 3 damage. Frostbolt is 2 mana, I believe. Let me just confirm that before I say something stupid. Frostbolt is 2 mana, yeah. And it does an additional effect. This is 3 mana to deal 3 damage, but it also reduces the cost of combo cards in your hand. Does Rogue traditionally run enough combo cards in their hand that this effect is worth potentially like 2 mana worth of value? Because honestly, without the freeze effect, I know that like generally you just kill minions with Frostbolt anyways, but without the freeze effect, I would say the Frostbolt is worth even less, maybe not quite 1 mana. So you need to have like at least 1 to 2 combo cards in your hand at the time that you want to play this. And the thing about combo cards is a lot of them deal damage anyways. So the question really is, like, why not just play those directly instead of playing a 3-cost card that reduces? And I guess you could also combo this with Talgath. But then you're paying 7 mana to deal 6 damage to 1 minion. And if you've comboed in that turn somehow, then you might also deal 4 damage to another minion for free. I don't know. I don't think this is that good either. But you know what? Honestly, Rogue does some bullcrap stuff sometimes, so it's a little bit hard to say with anything. Like, who would guess that Miracle Rogue could even be a thing looking at the cards individually, right? So it's entirely possible that some of these cards that are in Rogue right now might be way better than I'm giving them credit for. It's very tough to say. But if you disagree with any of the things that I've said, if you have different opinions in any way, let me know. Maybe I missed something drastic, and maybe Talgath is actually really good and I'm just not seeing it. But I personally think that he isn't. Yeah, leave a comment. I'm super interested to know what people think. And yeah, I'll see y'all probably next time for the Shaman cards. We're getting close now. Anyways, have a good one, everyone. Talk to y'all later.